Hi everyone and welcome to episode 9 of Conquer the Curse at Benfica with me, the United City FM. So, in this second season, we've reached the end point of our group stage in the Champions League. We've got one more game to play. We kind of need to get something. We're sitting in second place currently, a couple of points behind Liverpool at the top of our group, and Leipzig are chasing 3 points behind us. So, if we were to lose really badly and Leipzig win really well, potentially the goal difference swing would mean that we'd go out. So we do have to get something from this particular match. We've already beaten Liverpool once this season. Can we do it again? Let's find out. Welcome back to Benfica. So brilliantly well is how we're going so far this season, to be honest. We're sitting top of the table by a point over Porto. Of course, our focus on these episodes is the European campaigns, but it's still interesting to keep up to date with what's going on there. We have not lost a game in the league so far. 9 wins, 3 draws. So that's why we're sitting top of the table. Porto have just had that one loss. And it was to PTM. It wasn't even to us, to be honest. We got a draw with them earlier in the season. So we're doing great in the league. Everything's looking fantastic there. If we go into our competition page, you'll see that we got several other cup competitions going on as well, which are all going perfectly well at the moment. And then we get to the Champions League group stage. We do sit second place with 1 game to go, with 3 points clear of Leipzig, 2 points behind Liverpool. There'd have to be quite a big goal swing in favour of Leipzig for them to go through, I think. They're currently 8 goals behind us, so we need to avoid being absolutely thrashed by Liverpool. And we have already beaten them. As I say, earlier in the season, if we go into our schedule page, you'll see this is our most recent fixtures. But if we go right up to the top here, in our first game in the Champions League group stage away from home at Anfield, we did get a 3-2 win, and it was pretty spectacular at the time. Caught me by surprise anyway, if nobody else. Since then, we've done really well. We got a good 3-1 win against Dynamo Kyiv. We then went and played 2 games against Leipzig, drew the first one 0-0. We lost the second one 1-0, and that was the only real blip on our group stage so far, really. At home, we lost to Leipzig. And then in the last match in the Champions League group stage, we got a 5-1 win against Dynamo Kyiv. So you're up to date with all of that. We are doing pretty well. We got a draw in the last Premier Division game. We had to rotate the side a little bit and just make sure that we're keeping everybody fit and healthy, because my only focus is these Champions League group games. And we're just about to come up to a big gap in the schedule because of the World Cup, of course, that's happening in this second season in November, December time. So we're after this Liverpool match, we've got a couple of months, basically, where we can just rest and relax and recharge our batteries, ready to go again in January for the second half of this domestic season, and hopefully a continued Champions League run. We will see what happens. To do that, we have to get a result against Liverpool. So how do we get on? Let's go find out. So, only the one injured player, Diaz. There's a couple of slightly tired players, the likes of Goncalves on our right side of midfield, for example, but we're going to just play them one more game, then they get a huge rest if they're not going to the World Cup. And not too many of our squad are going to the World Cup. So, all of that means that we've been able to pretty much pick who I want to pick in this particular match. So, for today's game, crunch game against Liverpool in the Champions League, we go with Sanchez in goal, Porro at right back, Grimaldo at left back, Zibanye and Badiashile in central defence, Luiz and Mario in central midfield, Goncalves on the right, Everton on the left, and Nunes and Moukoko up top, with a bench of Morato, Gilberto, Pellegrini, Maita, Jota, Ramos and Yaremchuk. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I've gone with quite an upbeat team talk, to be honest. I've pumped the fist. I've said it's an important match for us, so make sure you go and give a good performance. Let's see what we can do in our home game against Liverpool. Now, I was absolutely caught by surprise when we beat Liverpool in our group stage game away from home earlier in the campaign, but ultimately they're going to want to get revenge on us. We need to avoid a heavy defeat. If we can get a draw, That would be perfect, wouldn't it, really? It would send us through with no problems. Obviously, anything more than that is a bonus on top of it. I just care about getting out of this group stage. Whether we go through as group winners or not, I think in the next round we'll get a tricky side, whoever it will be. So I'm not too worried about trying to figure out how the best route could be. I'm just more interested in absolutely just getting out of our group stage and getting into those knockout rounds where anything can potentially happen. We'll have to wait and see. For now, though, first attack 13 minutes in is Liverpool's, and they get an opportunity. They strike the woodwork, and then we come back at them down the centre of the pitch. Núñez palms it off to Moukoko, but he couldn't quite get there, and eventually Liverpool clear it out. But a good early strike from them, some good early build-up play from them, and there was a good attempt at the end of it. The woodwork kind of saved us from that one. Only a couple of shots from either side at the moment. We haven't put one on target just yet, but here's a corner kick for us into that near post, and Badiashile gets his head on it, as he often does, let's face it. He's a bit of a beast at that near post. Couldn't quite direct it, though, on this occasion. And we stay at 0-0, half an hour gone into the match. It has been very quiet. There's been hardly a shot at goal in the last 20 minutes of the game, really. The possession stats are okay, not too bad, but look at those two XG ratings. 0.15 for us, 0.19 for them. It's really shocking in terms of the opportunities created and how good they were. Liverpool with a chance to clear the lines. They go long and they win that second ball, unfortunately. And I think there might have been a slight offside there, and there was, but he put it off target anyway. So we rode our luck a little bit on that occasion. But, yeah, I'll take anything I can get at this point. Half-time comes. We are at half-time at 0-0. It's been an awful first half, it must be said. There's been a couple of shots. It's not that they haven't, but look at those two XG ratings. 0.15 for us, 0.38 for them. That is really, really quite poor for two decent sides at this level of football. We're kind of cancelling each other out, it feels like, a little bit. So I'm not happy with that first half. We're at home, and a 0.15 XG rating is not good enough. So we're going to thrash the arms. Far from pleased with what I just saw. It should just motivate the team. It has done, which is good. And then we'll go straight into the shouts and demand more from them in this second half. See if we can just get off to a bit of an early start here. We've given the ball away. It's the Liverpool goalkeeper clearing it down into this left-hand side for Robertson, who goes over the top for Jones. And he, I think, hits the post as well. He does. It comes bouncing off that post really quite hard. It was a good strike, but probably could have done with a little more of a subtle finish rather than that power blaster. And again, we kind of get away with one a little bit. A corner kick comes in for Liverpool. They head it over the top of the bar on that one. Goalkeepers didn't seem to be too worried about it, or he just didn't know what to do with it, one or the other. But we got away with another one. And there's been a couple of shots at goal. The XG ratings haven't really improved too much, especially on our front, to be honest. Even with 6 shots at goal, we've still got a 0.2 XG rating. That's so, I can't tell you how dreadful that is in such a key game. I mean, it's all right if we can get a draw. Of course it is. But even so, you'd want a little bit more than they're showing. So we've got a couple of issues, and they're primarily down the right-hand side. Goncalves, who came in with a slight injury, has got an even more of an issue down there. And also we've got a yellow card and a slightly jaded right fullback as well. So Gilberto comes in for Porro. So that's one change we're going to make. We're going to put Jota in. We're going to take Goncalves off, and we're going to switch Jota and Everton just because I think they play those two roles better that way round. And then we've got one more change that we can make. And unfortunately, I can't really take Everton off, and I'd like to at a 6.2, but we don't have our second left-sided player. I could bring Pellegrini in. Don't really want to do that. I think what I need to do instead is take off Núñez, who's just come back from an injury and is a little bit underperforming at the moment. So we just need to be a bit careful with him. It was probably a game too early for him, probably. I probably should have waited till after the World Cup, but I just needed to find a way to get a result against Liverpool. So we'll put Ramos back in, who has been getting the goals for me and doing really well. He's got 11 in 13 so far this season. So he's played instead of Núñez when he's been injured and looked great. So we'll put him in for the last little while and change somebody up top because those poor chances that we've really messed up on in this first half. We can't afford to do it in the last 15, 20 minutes of the game. Let's see if we can find any way of getting through to goal and having a couple of shots actually on target that the goalkeeper has to do something about. Here's a chance for us right down their end of the pitch from a throw-in down the right-hand side. They win the ball, unfortunately. It was a really good chance for us to get a ball in and do something with it, and we haven't managed it. But we do win the ball back. Jota puts it back to Mario, gets it back again into the box, and then lashes the ball high and wide, really, and probably should have tried to find a way to get it further across to the penalty spot kind of area and see who was there on for that one. As Liverpool come back at us, have a little bit of a tame effort themselves. It kind of feels like we're seeing out a draw here, and it should be okay for everybody, kind of. I would never condone such behaviour, of course. I want to win every match. But it looks that way unless there's a goal just at the end here. And it's Liverpool that have got the chance for it just at the moment. Cross comes in, and again the header was not very good. It's been it's so rubbish in front of goal. Oh, I'd be tearing my hair out if this was real football in that sense, sitting on the sidelines, I think. But for now, it is just about trying to get that draw. And we haven't, you see. This is the problem. If you don't take the chances that you create, then there's always the sucker punch chance. Now, I don't know what's happening with Leipzig. Now, they'd have to beat Dynamo Kyiv massively to get past us in this group stage. But we've just left the door open a little bit for them to do that, potentially, with some really, really poor finishing in front of goal. I mean, we've only had 2 shots at goal out of 8 chances. We'd want more than that in the first place. And those 2... we're just not well taken. It's so poor. And we go to a 1-0 loss. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. We could go through here perfectly happily, and I'll be happy about it. We already beat Liverpool in that first game. But that was just really dull. Anyway, let's go find out what happened with Leipzig. Houston, we have a problem. We have a problem. And the problem was that I misread the situation completely, and it's not on goal difference. It's on games played against each other. Leipzig won their game. Leipzig go through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. My error completely. I'm so used to away goals and sort of the goal difference being the decider on all of these different fixtures that I can't get my head around it not being the case. Anyway, we drop into the Euro Cup for the next stage of the competition, into the knockout stages there. Now, that actually might do us a favour. You never know. It will put us in a slightly easier set of fixtures to potentially win a European title of some sort. And that is, after all we're trying to do. My intention was not to drop into that competition. I would have really liked to stay in the Champions League and test ourselves in the second season against some good sides. We're going to drop down into the Euro Cup and still test ourselves against some good sides. And maybe, just maybe, we might get fortunate with it and still win a European trophy. Who knows? But that was a bit of an error on my part, really. Really disappointing performance when it really mattered. Liverpool came along and we just sat there and faffed about for a 90-minute game and didn't really achieve much. And they sucker punched us towards the end, really, because I don't think they deserved too much either. And Leipzig did really well. If we go into their fixture list, go into their schedule and go and find their game against Dynamo Kyiv, they did what you would expect them to do. They had a 4-goal swing. It's really not great from our point, was it, really? And this brilliant season that we're on in terms of all the domestic stuff, again, falters slightly in the European stuff. And we have to go down a slightly different route. As I say, though, Euro Cup might be really fantastic for us. We'll have to wait and see what that looks like moving forward. But just for now, it's probably a good thing that we've got a couple of month gap between now and our next game, because this bunch of players need to go and think about what they've just done. And half of them will be at the World Cup anyway. We'll see what happens, but we're dropping down into the Euro Cup. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that's a good thing for us ultimately in terms of what we're trying to achieve? I think it probably is. But it doesn't help with the momentum and the morale of players, does it really, in that sense? Anyway, that's all we can do. We're just going to have to win what's in front of us. Today, we did not manage it. I'm disappointed about that, but it might just help us in the long run. So come back and join me next episode where we'll be starting our knockout stages in the Euro Cup. So I've got a bit to play through between now and Thursday's episode. But yeah, come back and join me for that. I'll let you know then who we're playing in that knockout stage because I have no clue at this point. And we'll see whether we can still find some European success in this second season. Who knows? Maybe we can. Till then, thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.